Disguised billionaire's heartwarming journey with a cook at his resort revealed an amazing secret. In the quiet town of Maplewood, where the air smelled of fresh-baked bread and the laughter of children echoed through the streets, everyone knew Tom Jenkins. The hard-working cook at the Bridgeview Resort, Tom was the heart of the community. Every meal he served was a labor of love, prepared with his calloused hands and a fierce dedication to support his single mother and younger siblings. He stood in the bustling kitchen, surrounded by the scent of sautéed onions and herbs, his focus unwavering as he prepared plates that brought smiles to the faces of eager patrons. Tom's life wasn't easy. His hands wore the marks of toil, and he often wondered if he was sacrificing too much. Yet his heart swelled when he saw his mother smile, when his siblings burst into laughter, and when townsfolk praised his cooking at their weekly potlucks. It filled him with purpose, an invisible thread connecting him to everyone in Maplewood. But there was a storm brewing on the horizon. Whispers skittered through the town about the wealthy owner of the resort, Daniel Weston, planning to sell it off to corporate interests. Tom's chest tightened at the thought of losing his job, his family's stability, and the very essence of their tight-knit community. Little did he know that Daniel, under the guise of a regular guest, was observing him from the sidelines. Drawn in by Tom's humble spirit, he found himself enchanted by the cook's unwavering integrity and the love he poured into every dish. They struck up a friendship, two unlikely allies in a world divided by privilege and hardship, though Daniel kept his true identity hidden. One rainy afternoon, as the flickering lanterns cast a warm glow over the kitchen, Tom shared his dream of opening a diner where families could gather to share stories over hearty meals. Daniel's heart warmed at the possibility. "You've got a rare gift, Tom. The world needs more cooks like you. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But as Tom began to open up to the possibilities of his future, he overheard a conversation that made his blood run cold. Daniel planned to accept an offer from a big corporation to turn the resort into a mega hotel. Betrayal cut deeper than any knife he wielded in the kitchen. The very man he admired was poised to snatch away his lifeline. Confronting Daniel was the hardest thing Tom had ever done. Tears glistened in his eyes as he questioned their friendship. "How could you do this? You know how much this place means to us." Their argument echoed in the very walls that had witnessed their bond forming. The revelation of Daniel's true identity as a billionaire shattered everything in one fell swoop. The very fabric of their friendship hung by a thread. With the chance of losing everything they had come to mean to one another, they stood at a crossroad, determined to fight for the community that had lifted them both. "I refuse to let greed tear us apart," Tom declared, resolve hardening in his chest. Together, they would devise a plan to rally Maplewood, reigniting the heart of their community, but the stakes were higher than ever. Can they stand against the tide of corporate interests and find a way to heal the rift between them? The sun hung low on the horizon, casting a golden glow over Maplewood as Tom sat on the old wooden bench by the community park. His fingertips tapped nervously on his knee, the weight of uncertainty heavy in his chest. The laughter of children playing echoed in the background, but all he could focus on was the looming threat to the resort and the betrayal he felt from Daniel. Just hours ago, Tom had poured his heart out to the man he considered a friend, only to have that trust shattered with the truth of Daniel's identity. "Why does everything feel so wrong?" Tom whispered to himself, a slight tremor in his voice. He glanced toward the resort, a beautiful building that had been the backdrop to countless cherished memories. It filled his heart with warmth, yet now, that same place felt like a sinking ship. "Hey, Tom." A familiar voice broke through his dark thoughts. It was Mrs. Hargrove, her silver hair shining in the afternoon light. Always the bringer of joy, she approached with a homemade pie nestled in her arms. "I brought this for you. I thought you could use a little pick-me-up." "Thanks, Mrs. Hargrove," Tom replied, accepting the pie with a faint smile. "It means a lot." She settled on the bench beside him, her gaze reflecting concern. "You don't look so good. What's on your mind?" Tom hesitated. How could he explain the depth of his despair? He decided to share just a snippet. "It's the resort. I heard some troubling news, and it has me worried." "Oh, dear. I've heard the rumors too," she said, a frown creasing her brow. "But you've got a good heart, Tom. People believe in you. They really do." "Do they? What if everything changes? What if Daniel goes through with selling the resort? What about the diner I dreamed of? It feels so far out of reach." His voice trailed off, choked with emotion. Mrs. Hargrove placed her hand gently on his shoulder. "You have a rare gift, my dear. You cook with love and passion. You can't let one setback define your dreams. We're all here for you, and together we can fight for what matters." Those words resonated deep within him. The fight wasn't just about him anymore, it was about everyone who depended on the resort and the sense of community it fostered. A flicker of hope sparked in Tom's heart. "You're right. We need to do something. But how?" "Rally the townsfolk. We need a town meeting. Gather everyone together and let Daniel know how much the resort means to us," Mrs. Hargrove suggested, her eyes lighting up with enthusiasm. "People will come. They'll stand by you." Tom nodded, feeling his resolve tighten around him. "I'll do it. I'll rally everyone." As they continued discussing possibilities, the sun dipped lower in the sky. Tom felt a renewed sense of determination. If he could unify the community, perhaps they could remind Daniel of what they all cherished: the warmth, the laughter, and the connection that made Maplewood home. But deep down, another thought lurked. Would Daniel listen? Would he understand the importance of community over profit? That night, Tom lay wide awake, staring at the ceiling. He pictured the faces of everyone in Maplewood, their smiles lighting up the darkest corners of his mind. He thought about the man who now felt both like a friend and a stranger. The next day loomed ahead, and Tom knew he had to confront Daniel one last time, not just to save his job, but to save the soul of the town. The night grew darker, but with it sparked a flame of hope for what lay ahead. What if Daniel had the capacity to change? What if he could be swayed by the strength of the community he'd come to appreciate? As sleep finally claimed him, a question lingered: would this be the moment where everything changed? Morning broke over Maplewood, and the light filtered through the curtains into Tom's small bedroom, painting everything in shades of gold. He rubbed sleep from his eyes and sat up, the weight of yesterday's thoughts pressing down on him as he swung his legs over the side of the bed. The smell of freshly brewed coffee wafted in from the kitchen, a comfort that reminded him of quieter moments. Today was the day. He tied his worn shoes with a sense of urgency. The diner he dreamed of serving as a hub for the community felt like a distant star, a goal yet unfulfilled, but so close it made his heart race with anticipation. He stepped out into the brisk morning air, the chill a welcome jolt to his system. The streets of Maplewood were alive, neighbors greeting each other with warm smiles and friendly nods. Tom moved with purpose, pausing only when he spotted Mrs. Hargrove watering her daffodils. "Morning, dear. Ready for your big day?" she called out, the joy in her voice a balm to his nerves. "More than ready," he replied, taking a deep breath. "I'm heading to see Daniel. I've got to make him understand." "Good luck," she said, and Tom soaked in the encouragement like sunshine. The town meeting loomed ahead, but first, he had to confront the man at the heart of it all. Arriving at the resort, he clenched his fists. Standing in front of the grand entrance, he felt the weight of every memory associated with that building: the laughter, the dances, the late-night storytelling sessions by the fire. He stepped inside, his heart pounding in rhythm with the footsteps echoing through the lobby. Daniel was at his desk, looking far removed from the charismatic figure Tom had once idolized. The man was hunched over documents, brow furrowed. Tom cleared his throat, his words almost stuck in his throat. When Daniel looked up, a flicker of confusion crossed his face, quickly overshadowed by his cool demeanor. "Tom, what brings you here?" Daniel asked, leaning back as if to prepare himself for an unexpected discussion. "I need to talk, Daniel. About the resort, and the plans you have." "Ah, yes. It's a business decision, Tom." "Nothing personal, just practical," he said, dismissing the weight of Tom's words. "Not personal, really?" Tom stepped forward, gathering courage. "This place means more than just profit. It's about our community, our home. Mrs. Hargrove, the diner we all want, there's more at stake here than numbers on a page." Daniel slid a finger across the spreadsheets, a flicker of annoyance crossing his face. "I understand your sentiment, but the world doesn't run on emotions. Think about it, business needs to thrive." Tom shook his head, frustration boiling over. "But what if taking away the resort tears the heart out of Maplewood? Are you willing to lose what connects us all?" For a moment, the air was thick with tension, and Tom could see the conflict in Daniel's eyes. He'd built a life around ideals of success, but that success had a cost. Tom clung to this hope, believing beneath Daniel's cool exterior lay a spark of understanding waiting to be ignited. "Let's talk about a town meeting. I want the community to show you what this place means," Tom said, his voice steadying. The silence stretched as Daniel contemplated. What was he hiding behind that business facade? Did he really care about Maplewood as much as Tom hoped he did? "Fine," Daniel finally relented. "But we'll have to be pragmatic. No guarantees, Tom." Tom's heart thumped with a mix of hope and apprehension. "I'll take it. Let the town share their voices." As he turned to leave, a sense of determination washed over him. The fight was far from over, but perhaps there was a bridge to cross, a way to connect the invisible threads binding them all together. Tomorrow's meeting would be crucial, and the stakes were high. A thought lingered like a shadow. Would Daniel truly see the heart of Maplewood, or would the walls of corporate greed stand too tall? With hope sparking within him, Tom stepped back into the sunlight. But as he made his way home, he felt an unsettling twist in the pit of his stomach. What unexpected challenge awaited him at the town meeting? As he approached the familiar streets, the gravity of the moment hit. This was just the beginning. The day of the town meeting arrived, and Maplewood buzzed with anticipation. Children darted through the streets, laughter ringing out as parents chatted at small stands that dotted the town square. The sun shone brightly, a stark contrast to the heaviness Tom felt inside. He stood outside the community center, watching locals file in, their faces a mix of excitement and apprehension. "Hey, Tom." It was Jake, his friend since childhood, pulling him out of his thoughts. "Ready for this?" Tom forced a smile. "As ready as I can be." Jake leaned in, lowering his voice. "Don't worry. Everyone's behind you. We all want this diner." Tom nodded, trying to muster some confidence. "I just hope Daniel will actually listen." With a reassuring clap on his shoulder, Jake moved inside. Tom lingered for a moment longer. The red-bricked building loomed ahead, inviting yet intimidating. He took a deep breath and followed his friend inside. The room was filled with familiar faces. People Tom had known for years were chatting, arms crossed, expressions serious. He made his way to the front, the importance of what was about to happen sinking in. The buzz died down as he stepped up to the makeshift stage, heart racing. "Thank you all for coming," Tom began, his voice steadying despite the flutter in his stomach. "Today, we stand together for something much bigger. The diner isn't just a place to eat. It's a part of who we are, a gathering spot for friends, families, and memories. He glanced around, meeting the eyes of neighbors, seeing their shared concerns. I get it. Daniel is making business decisions, but those decisions affect our lives. If we lose the resort, what do we lose in the process? Murmurs of agreement spread through the crowd. Encouraged, he pressed on. We need our voices to make a difference today. Daniel needs to hear how much this place matters. It's not just about buildings, it's about community. Before he could finish, a voice rang out from the back. What if he doesn't care? What if he shuts us down? It was Samantha, her voice shaky yet strong. The worry in her eyes struck a chord in Tom's heart. He took a step forward, ensuring they could all see him. That's why we're here, Samantha. To show that we care. To remind Daniel that every number on his spreadsheets represents a life and a connection. Together, we are stronger. Daniel strutted in, a confident stride that garnered immediate attention. The room flickered with an odd mix of hope and anxiety. Tom's heart sank but lifted all at once. This was the moment they prepared for, and yet, the weight of the unknown loomed large. Good evening, everyone, Daniel said, his voice booming. I appreciate your enthusiasm, but let us be realistic about the future of the resort. Tom searched the crowd, fear evident in the faces he knew well. He had to be the voice for them, no matter what. Daniel, he called out, emboldened, we're not here to fight against you. We want to build something together. Imagine what we can create if we work hand in hand. A ripple of uncertainty washed over Daniel's confident demeanor, and Tom noticed a twitch in his jaw. As the tension thickened, a thought flickered in Tom's mind. What if, under all that steeliness, Daniel felt the pressure of their hopes? Could they appeal to his humanity? The meeting pressed on, voices clashing, but Tom couldn't shake the feeling that perhaps hidden beneath Daniel's businesslike attitude was someone who understood the gravity of community. As the debate raged, Tom sensed they were on the brink of truth and transformation. But suddenly, a loud crash startled everyone. In stepped a figure cloaked in shadows, disrupting the already charged atmosphere. The murmurs fell silent. Who was this intruder, and how would their arrival change everything? Tom's pulse quickened again, knowing this was just the beginning of a larger saga unfolding in Maplewood. What did this mysterious figure want, and how would they impact the fight for the diner? The figure stepped into the light, revealing a woman draped in a gray overcoat, her face partially masked by a wide-brimmed hat. The room held its breath, eyes glued to her as she paused, scanning the crowd as if sizing them up. A chill of tension filled the air, thick enough to slice through the usual warmth of the community center. Excuse me, she said, her voice quiet but resolute. I couldn't help but overhear your discussion about the diner. There was a sharpness in her tone that drew everyone's attention, even that of Daniel, who stood rooted to the spot with a mix of intrigue and apprehension. Who are you? Samantha called out, her anxiety bubbling beneath the surface. Just someone who cares about the town, she replied, removing her hat to reveal striking features and deep-set, passionate eyes. I've been watching from the shadows, and I believe there's a solution that could benefit us all. Daniel raised an eyebrow, skeptical but intrigued. And what solution could that possibly be? Instead of tearing down the diner, why not rethink your vision for the resort? She stepped further into the center, her gaze challenging, her voice rising above murmurs. Invest in creating a destination that's tied to the community. Imagine using the diner as an anchor, a place where tourists and locals can converge. Tom could hardly believe what he was hearing. You mean help us keep it open? Exactly. She nodded, her enthusiasm infectious. Think of the engagement, the memories. Tourists crave authentic experiences. You want numbers? Attach those numbers to the soul of this town. There was an electricity in the room now, hope sparking with every word she spoke. Tom felt it rush through him like fire, his nerves dissipating. Could there really be a way to save the diner? Could this stranger be their ally? But why should I trust your vision? Daniel asked, crossing his arms defensively. The woman held Daniel's gaze steadily, as if reading the history lined across his face. Because the future of the resort and the diner are intertwined. I know you care about this town deep down, Daniel. Let us explore the opportunity together instead of tearing it apart. Silence fell over the room. Eyes flicked from Daniel to Tom, to the women who stood with an unexpected authority. Samantha's right, Tom spoke, feeling the weight of the moment. What if you could take a different route? What if this community could inject life into the resort? We could host events, collaborate on local produce, we could dream bigger together. He watched as Daniel's jaw tightened once more, but this time it was different. There was contemplation behind the steel. Tom's heart raced. It was as if a narrow path was opening before them, a chance to bridge the divide. What's your name? He finally asked the mysterious woman. Call me Mia, she replied, a small smile breaking through the currently serious atmosphere. And if you're willing to listen, I promise I have a plan. The mood shifted again, the air around them felt lighter, possibilities hung thick like perfume. But before anyone could react further, a loud slam echoed through the doors at the back of the room. The crowd turned in unison. Two men entered, somber expressions etched across their faces. They whispered hurriedly among themselves, eyes darting toward Daniel and then the woman before them. Daniel, one of them said, urgency in his tone. We need to talk. There's something you don't know about the future of the resort. Tom's chest tightened. What now? Was their moment of hope about to be crushed? Mia glanced at Tom, her expression serious. This isn't over, not yet. And in that split second, just before the next revelation struck the room, Tom realized that every moment he had prepared for was unraveling in ways he'd never imagined. What was the truth these men brought? And how would it affect everything they fought for? The whispers in the room grew louder, a wave of unease rising as everyone tried to make sense of the intrusion. The two men, clad in dark jackets, were like storm clouds hanging low, ready to unleash some unwelcome news. Give us a moment, said Daniel, raising a hand. He stepped closer to the two newcomers, his face taut with concern. What is going on? Mia stood to the side, her expression thoughtful yet guarded. She could sense the tension crackling in the air. Tom felt it too, a gnawing anxiety pressing on his chest. It felt as though they were standing on a precipice, ready to plummet into the unknown. Daniel, there's been a development, the first man said, a hint of hesitation in his voice. Investors are making a move and they want to buy out the resort. They don't care about the diner or what it means to the town. Samantha's gasp cut through the murmur of conversation. A heaviness settled over the room, like a dark fog pushing into every corner. Buy it out? Just like that? Tom couldn't believe the gravity of what he'd just heard. Do they even understand what's at stake here? The history? The community? They don't care, the second man replied, his eyes darting around the group. They see numbers. They see potential profit. Daniel clenched his fists, his jaw working as he processed their words. The fire that had sparked moments ago was now dimming, threatened by a looming darkness. Mia's voice cut in, firm and unwavering, you have to fight this. Did you hear what I said about the diner? It's not just about profit, it's about identity. If you sell to these investors, you're handing over the soul of this town. Daniel turned back to Mia, the flicker of determination igniting once more in his eyes. What do you suggest? Tom's heart raced, hope and desperation colliding. This was it. This was the point where they could rally together, under Mia's vision. Mia took a deep breath, her thoughts racing. Let us band everyone together. We can hold an emergency town meeting, mobilize support. If we show the investors that the community won't stand for it, maybe they'll reconsider. But time is running out, Daniel said, anxiety creeping into his tone. "If we wait too long, we might lose everything. Then we act fast," shouted Samantha, her voice rising above the low murmurs. "Let us get everyone involved. This is our diner. We can't let them take it." Tom could see the spark ignite in Daniel's eyes. "You're right. Let us do this. If Mia believes in us, then we have to believe in ourselves." The two men exchanged glances, unsure what to make of the resolve building in the room. Suddenly the atmosphere shifted, the crowd responding with nods and murmurs of agreement. "Okay," Daniel said, stepping back to face the group. "We'll call a meeting tomorrow morning. Everyone's invited. Let us show them just how much this diner means to us." As the flurry of discussions swirled around him, Tom looked at Mia, her passion radiating like a beacon. He felt drawn to her, a sense of kinship sparking. This was more than just a fight for a diner, it was a fight for their shared future. But just as the energy reached a crescendo, the two men exchanged a sidelong glance, and the realization hit Tom. They weren't just any men, they were the very people making deals behind closed doors, the ones who could decide their fate. "Make no mistake," the first man said, voice cold and steady. "We'll be watching. If you want to keep this diner, it's going to take more than just words." The weight of his threat hung in the air, heavy and foreboding. Tomorrow would come sooner than they thought, and with it, a battle that could alter everything they believed. Tom's heart raced, caught between hope and fear. What were they willing to risk to save what was dear? And would they emerge victorious in the end? The sun slid below the horizon, casting long shadows across the diner as Tom, Daniel, and Mia gathered around a table, papers strewn before them like the scattered pieces of a puzzle. The once joyful space felt heavy, haunted by the threat of change. "We need a plan," Mia said, determination in her voice as she flipped through the printed documents outlining the diner's history and its significance to the town. "We can't just rely on hope. We need something concrete to present at the meeting." Tom nodded, feeling the energy of their resolve mingle with the weight of their mission. "What if we gather testimonies from old customers? Get people to share what the diner means to them?" His mind raced, searching for ideas. "Great idea," Daniel said with a spark of excitement. "Stories can be powerful. If we make a video, we could share it at the meeting. Show them it's more than just a business." Mia smiled, her face lighting up. "Yes. Real voices, real stories. The investors need to understand the heart of this place. It's not just about making a profit, it's about preserving a community." As they brainstormed, laughter floated in from the kitchen where Samantha was whipping up a fresh batch of pie. The sweet, buttery scent washed over them, momentarily lifting their spirits. But the sobering reality crept back in as they exchanged glances. This was just the beginning, and the uphill battle loomed ahead. "Let us start tonight. Call some of our regulars," Tom suggested, his voice steady. "We'll meet back here tomorrow to compare notes. Maybe clean up the diner a bit, make it inviting for the meeting." Mia's eyes sparkled with purpose. "I'll handle social media. We'll make it an event. Use every platform to rally the town." Meanwhile, Daniel scribbled down notes, his focus unwavering. As each suggestion flowed from their lips, something shifted within Tom. He felt it, a sense of camaraderie binding them tighter together. This wasn't just about the diner anymore, it was their chance to bond, to fight, to stand strong against a world that saw only profits. The clock on the wall ticked louder as the night wore on. One by one, regulars trickled in, curiosity written on their faces. Old retiree couples, young families, and single patrons filled the diner with stories of laughter, tears, and memories. Each person carried a piece of the diner's legacy with them, and Tom felt a swell of gratitude towards them all. As the night unfolded, a soft rumble echoed from the depths of the diner. It was Samantha, calling for people's favorite memories. "Come on, folks. Who wants to share? It was as if she had tapped into the spirit of the diner itself. Raised hands began to share tales of first dates over milkshakes, lifelong friendships forged in the booths, and the comforting feeling the diner provided during hard times. With every story that spilled forth, the room grew warmer, knitting them together in a tapestry of nostalgia. "I never knew we all felt this way," Tom whispered to Mia. Their eyes met, a connection deeper than words sparked between them. But just outside, behind the tinted windows, the two men stood watching, their faces inscrutable. Inside, as the night wore on, hope ignited amid the laughter and tears. But the shadow of uncertainty still lurked. How far would they truly go to protect what they loved? With the dawn approaching where they would lead the charge, a question lingered in the air: would the community's heart be enough to withstand the storm that was coming? The morning sun peeked through the diner's windows, casting golden rays on the linoleum floor and revealing the scattered remnants of the night before. Tom, Daniel, and Mia stood in a tight circle, still buzzing from last night's emotional gathering. Each of them knew they had unearthed something special, a raw connection that transcended every person who walked through those doors. "All right, we need to get moving on this," Tom said, his voice steady, but a twitch of anxiety pulled at his brow. He glanced at the clock. The meeting was only days away, and time was not on their side. "Mia, have you heard back from anyone about the stories?" "I've got a few responses." She held up her phone, excitement flickering in her eyes. "People are willing to show up and share, some even want to record their memories. It's a good start." Daniel, ever practical, pulled out a notepad. "Let's map it out. We need to decide on a timeline and who we're going to film first." The sound of pencils scratching against paper filled the air, punctuating the morning's promise. Just then, Samantha emerged from the kitchen, a towel draped over her shoulder. Her hair was a mess from a night of baking, but her smile was radiant and infectious. "What's all this? You kids plotting a heist?" She joked, but the warmth in her voice reminded them of her role as the heartbeat of the diner. Tom chuckled. "Just trying to save our beloved diner. But we could use your help. Can you share some stories too? Your touch brings it all to life." Samantha's laughter bubbled up, brightening the atmosphere. "Oh, I've got stories. The time a couple had a spectacularly embarrassing first date right here, let me tell you." As they shared laughs over quirky memories, a plan began to solidify. They'd interview regulars throughout the week, capture the diners on video, and edit it into a powerful piece for the meeting. "Let's make a sign too," Mia suggested suddenly, her eyes shimmering with enthusiasm. "Something welcoming. 'This is our diner.' Or 'Come share your story.' It'll draw more people in." Tom nodded, feeling the momentum building. As they mapped out their strategy, a sense of urgency surged through him. If their heartfelt effort didn't resonate with the investors, what chance did they really have? Later that day, as the diner filled up, patrons began to react to the growing buzz in the air. People approached the trio, curious about the efforts being made. One by one, they began to share their stories, often with laughter, sometimes with tears. Mrs. Henderson, a local teacher, reminisced about hosting reunion lunches in their favorite booth. "I've shared more than just food here, I've shared my life," she said, emotion threading through her words. Tom's heart swelled with each story. It was evident that everyone felt connected to the diner in ways they'd forgotten. Their faith in the little diner became a mission, a bond that might just carry them toward victory. But just outside, the men stood watching again. This time, one turned to the other, his expression contemplative. "It's heartwarming," he mused. "But does it even matter?" Back inside, the diner radiated warmth and hope, yet the tension outside lingered like a shadow. Would the heart of the community be enough to shine through, or would the cold hand of corporate ambition snatch it all away? As the day wound down and the moon began to rise, Tom stared at the growing crowd. Hope battled unease within him. They were onto something big, and the stakes had never been higher. Would they be ready to face whatever awaited them at the meeting? Tomorrow would bring its own challenges, but for now, they held on to the hope that had woven them together. What secrets would come to light and at what cost? The next day arrived with a crispness in the air that felt electric. Tom rolled out of bed, determined and restless. His mind was a whirlwind of excitement and apprehension. Today was the day they would begin capturing stories, the heartbeat of their diner. As the trio gathered at the diner, Mia was already busily painting a large sign with bold letters. "This is our diner," she exclaimed, her brush strokes filled with enthusiasm. Nearby, Daniel set up the camera equipment, fiddling with the lenses. Tom couldn't help but admire their commitment. Samantha joined them, her arms filled with fresh pastries. "What do you think of the sign?" "It's great, right?" Tom grinned. "It's perfect, Mia. Just like everything we're doing." The door chimed as more patrons streamed in, curious about the buzz. One by one, familiar faces settled into booths, eager to share their memories. As they rolled the camera, Tom felt the weight of responsibility. Each story was a thread in the tapestry that was the diner's history. Mrs. Henderson, his favorite teacher, was first in line again, her face lighting up as she recounted a moment long forgotten. "I remember the time my husband proposed right at that corner booth. You know, in front of everyone. He was so nervous." The laughter that followed echoed warmly off the diner's walls. It was a shared joy, a reminder of the connections built here, over coffee and pancakes. Mia pressed the record button again for another story. "Okay, Mr. Harrington, it's your turn. Don't shy away now." Mr. Harrington chuckled, adjusting his glasses. "Well, I have to tell you, back in '89, I lost my job and thought my life was over. But this diner," he waved his hand to take in the space, "was my refuge. The kindness I found here brought me back to life." That struck Tom. Each story seemed to layer more depth onto their mission. This diner was not just a place of food, it was a sanctuary where lives intertwined, destinies forged over shared meals and laughter. But minutes later, as Tom took a breath, a sudden tension jolted through him. Out the window, he spotted the same men from the previous night. They were back, their eyes fixed on the diner with a predatory interest. "Hey, did you see them?" Tom whispered, pulling his friends into a huddle. "They keep watching us." "Who are they?" Daniel asked, brows furrowed. "I don't know," Tom admitted, a gnawing feeling settling in his stomach. "But it can't be good." Samantha had also noticed their unsettling presence. "Maybe we should ask them what they want." "No. Let us focus on capturing these stories first," Tom replied, shifting his attention back inside. He couldn't let their growing fears disrupt the fragile life they breathed back into the diner. As the afternoon rolled on, they collected heartfelt accounts, moments of joy, sorrow, and everything in between. The energy was palpable, sweeping through the diner like an embracing hug. Yet, the lurking men pressed heavily on Tom's mind. Who were they, and why did they care about this little diner? Was it just business, or was something more sinister afoot? Finally, Samantha ended the day with a flourish, offering free slices of pie to anyone who shared. The patrons were more than willing to dig into nostalgia, and laughter filled the space. But while the smiles and warmth surged around him, Tom couldn't shake the feeling that all this joy was a fragile bubble, waiting to be burst. As the last story wrapped up, and the crowd cheered for one another, the doors swung open. Tom's heart raced as he turned to see who had entered. Would the men reveal themselves? Or would they lurk once more in the shadows, carrying the weight of a decision that could alter everything? The diner felt split between two worlds, one, a place of unity and love, the other, a dark uncertainty threatening to extinguish the light they had just found. As the last joyful laughter faded, the men stepped forward, bringing a sudden chill that wrapped around the diner. Their presence darkened the otherwise bright room, drawing anxious whispers from the crowd. Tom, heart racing, stepped up to meet them, trying to mask his fear with courage. "What do you want?" he demanded, firming his stance. The taller of the two men, a sharp-featured man with an air of arrogance, exchanged glances with his companion before addressing Tom. "We need to have a word with Daniel about the future of this place." Tom's pulse quickened. "What future? The one where you ripped this diner from our community? We won't let that happen." "Tom," Daniel interjected, stepping beside him. The intensity in his eyes was like a silent plea for calm. "Let me handle this." The man smirked, glancing at Daniel with disdain. "You have to understand we're not against you. We're here to inform you. Your video project, while sentimental, doesn't guarantee that this diner will remain." Tom felt a wave of anger surge through him. "You think we're just going to roll over? We're fighting for a legacy, a piece of who we are. This isn't just about profit, it's about our families, our memories." With each word, the diner's patrons shifted in their seats, sharing uneasy glances. Their collective heart was pounding in solidarity with Tom. "Please, let us not turn this into a scene," the second man chimed in, an evenness in his voice that felt patronizing. "The board will meet in 2 days. If you can convince them at the town meeting tomorrow, perhaps we'll reconsider our options." "Tomorrow, huh? When all of Maplewood shows up?" Mia asked, her head held high, refusing to be intimidated. "We'll show the world what we mean to this town." The tall man cast a glance around, noting the energy in the room. "Just remember, nostalgia doesn't pay the bills. You'll need to present a strong case. Good luck." With that, they turned to leave, their footsteps echoing as they crossed the threshold into the evening light, leaving behind a simmering tension in the air. Tom's shoulders dropped slightly, that flicker of doubt trying to creep in. But the energy of the diner was electric. Their friends rallied around them, murmurs igniting with determination. "That was intimidating, but they didn't crush our spirits," Samantha declared. "We can do this." Daniel nodded, encouraged by the solidarity. "Tomorrow, we present our stories. We make them understand why the diner is more than just bricks and mortar." Tom felt a glow of hope kindling within him once again. "Let us make this count. We'll gather every story, every face that feels the heartbeat of this diner." That night, as Tom lay in bed, the weight of the upcoming meeting pressed on him. But alongside the pressure was an undeniable resilience sparked from the memories shared at the diner. The faces of friends, laughter shared, and fragments of life weaved into the diner. It didn't just exist, it thrived in their hearts. Morning dawned bright and hopeful, the sun spilling warm hues across the landscape. Tom and the team gathered at the diner, heartbeats synchronized with purpose. The sign, "This is our diner," had become a beacon not just for them, but for the town. All throughout Maplewood, whispers spread like wildfire. Families gathered, friends united, and memories converged under that roof, each person adding their voice to the cause. As the town meeting approached, Tom took a deep breath. This was it. This was their moment. They would show the investors, and Daniel, the very soul of Maplewood rested within those walls. The community center brimmed with support. Tom stood at the podium, the townspeople behind him, showing up for the diner, for their stories, for a future filled with compassion and care. He took a deep breath, eyes sweeping over the crowd. "Welcome. Today, we don't just speak for ourselves but for every soul connected to this diner." He looked toward Daniel, who stood shoulder to shoulder with the townsfolk. "This isn't just a place to eat, it's where we grow, heal, and gather as a community. We've evolved together, and we won't let it be swept away by numbers on a spreadsheet." Cheers erupted from the crowd, and Tom felt a wave of strength surge through him. Each voice joined together, a symphony of community spirit. It was time for the truth to shine, for the warmth of their unity to drown out any threat. As Tom shared the heartfelt stories collected, the essence of Maplewood unfolded before them. Mrs. Henderson's laughter, Mr. Harrington's resilience, and the collective memories spilled forth like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. "Let us hold on to what matters," Tom said, wrapping up. "Together, we can turn this diner into a symbol of community, showcasing our identity to the world. Show them that profits mean nothing without the people who built this place." With every story that touched the board, the energy in the room transformed. They were fighting for much more than a diner, they were fighting for a future built on love, resilience, and a cherished legacy. As cheers erupted one last time, Tom locked eyes with Daniel, who wore a look of genuine realization. The heart of the matter had been illuminated, not just in words, but in the echo of their shared lives, connections, and love for what they had built together. And in that powerful moment, it became clear, they had united against the storm, standing strong in pursuit of their dreams. After all, this was not just a fight for a diner, it was a bold declaration that together, they could rewrite their future. The battle wasn't over, but hope blazed like a beacon, and with every heartbeat, they knew they would rise together. Now, it's your turn to be part of this journey. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. This is the moment to rally behind what you love. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this heartfelt ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting this channel through these actions.